Hey guys, it's me, Travis, here with DFSkarma.com. We have our weekly Jock Market podcast for you guys. We have Bales and, of course, TRex, the number one player on Jock Market, in Jock Market history for that matter. And if you're this first time tuning in, I always address this. Why is this guy not, why can't we see his face? Why don't we know his real name? Why is he a dinosaur? He's hiding his identity for multiple reasons. One of them being this guy wins so much money on this site, on this app, that he doesn't want anybody to know who he is. That's simple. So what we do on this podcast every single week is we start off talking about strategy. This is a very different DFS platform. This is a new concept, a new work concept, if you will. And so we kind of go through strategy to kind of teach you, okay, those that are used to, the FanDuel style, the DraftKings style, the lineup stuff. How do you apply similar or same research into figuring out what shares of players or how many shares of players you get in this particular type of contest? So if you do not have an account yet, go to jockmarket.online, download the app. You can get it on Google Play and the iOS App Store. Use promo code KARMA to get that $50 bonus as well. And if you do not, or if you're not in our Discord, get in there. We talk about Jock Market, not just for NFL, but they have contests for NBA, MLB during the playoffs still, and then also NHL as well, with PGA on there. But something I did want to mention is that these podcasts are to help you guys learn how to play, but if you aren't actually trying to learn, don't just watch these and listen for the plays. Try to actually grab that strategy. When we're talking about something, listen, absorb it. If you're just tuning in and fast forwarding the plays, you were not going to win on any platform long term. But that being said, let's get into the strategy side of this podcast. Something that TRex wanted to address is that what he's seen in our Discord from people communicating back and forth, which we love all the questions that come in there, so make sure you keep them coming, is that he feels like that overall he's seen that not a lot of people, if anybody, understands the share counts of how many shares each player have in particular contests. So TRex, go ahead and kind of break down what you believe is a misconception that you're seeing in the community and all Jock Market all around, and then how to address that in terms of what you've seen on your end.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. I think that it's hard to understand how many shares are out there of each player in these different slates. I mean, mostly because they don't say how many shares are out there, but there is a way to figure it out if you have a sufficient amount of money in your account. Right after the IPO opens, you find just any random player, type in $1.01, but before you hit, and then type in, let's just say 2,000 shares, right? So that's going to require you to have $2,000. But before you hit buy, the system will tell you, hey, there's only X number of shares out there. So it's kind of a workaround, but they're generally the same. So for NFL main market, they usually start at 100 shares a player, thereabouts, and the single games are usually at about 400 shares a player. But what I don't think people realize is those shares go up. The system, as people are bidding and the prices are getting higher on the IPO, the system starts adding more and more shares to kind of balance out so that prices don't get out of control. And they add a lot of shares. I think last Thursday night, there was like 1,100 shares per player in that single game slate. So what does that all mean? Well, obviously, it's supply and demand. The more shares that are out there, the lower the price is going to be if you consider that demand is going to be the same across the board. And so that's really important to know that if you're trying to bid and trying to pick up, 10 shares here and there, that's a lot easier if there's 1,000 shares out there. But it's a lot harder if there's only 80. And so I think that people need to realize that if they're going to try and make a move, let's say in the Sunday night slate, you can go after 50 or 100 shares of a player if you really felt confident and wanted to go after it. You're not going to be able to do that in a Sunday main slate. That's going to jack the price way too high because there's just simply not enough shares out there. And so you have to change your strategy. I think if Sunday night slates, if I want to hammer somebody like last week with Dennis Johnson, it took 200 shares. I'm not going to be able to do that in a Sunday main slate. I'm probably picking up 30 or 40 shares. Because if you try and pick up too many shares, the price goes way up, and then it's too difficult to actually try and churn a profit off of it.
Yeah, and that's something that I was going to address as well. Is that the price, the price per share of a player, it doesn't matter what sport it is, you have to pay attention to that. It's not just this guy's going to go off, I want to have shares of this player. You have to have a cap, a mental cap on where do you think that player is going to finish in the slate. If you think he's going to be the number one player, still doesn't mean you go all in on him, because okay, every single share of the number one player, no matter what sport, gets $25 a share payout. So if you're bidding, $20 per share, then it doesn't make any sense, because even if they finish second, you still lose money because of the transaction fees. So there's so much. Let me correct that. It's not so much math you have to do, but you just have to have an understanding of where you think the person's going to finish, how much will they be worth, and how much are you willing to bid on that projection. So something that I'm trying to harp and hype on in these podcasts in Discord is this is almost exactly the same as eBay. And we were talking about this before we recorded. Bales, myself, and TRex were a little bit on the older side compared to the general consensus of Karma Nation. But eBay, you don't bid on something a penny more or a dollar more. You bid what's the most that you'd be willing to spend on an item on eBay. And then if you bid $100 on whatever, and then the next highest bidder is 50, then you're probably paying like 51, 52, whatever that range is there. But let's just say you pay $51. So it doesn't matter how much you bid. It's how much the next highest player bids, or the next highest competitor bids. So that being said, we see a lot of people in our chat room across the different sports are saying, oh man, I got outbid. Well, yeah, if you're bidding a penny higher than the current price, 99% of the time you're going to get outbid. So what you need to do is you need to figure out, where's this player going to finish, how much, and your projections, where they're going to finish, what's their payout going to be, and then what's the most I'm willing to spend. So let's just say you think a player is going to finish second in the slate, which is a $20 payout, and the most you want to bid, just for argument's sake, let's say $13 a share is the most you want to bid. You want to make sure you get at least $7 profit per share of this player. Okay, so now the player is currently at, let's say, $10, and there's 5 minutes left before the bidding locks. Well, if they're at $10, the most you already determined in your mind that you're going to bid is 13. Do not bid with 5 minutes left. Do not bid 10:01, 10:02, and just keep going up and up. You've already determined it's $13 as the max. You bid $13, and let's say in the last 5 minutes gets a little crazy and it gets up to $11.50. Then you win because you already had $13 as your max, and you got all of those plays for $1.50 cheaper, because nobody outbid you because you had your max bid. It's the same concept as eBay. If you've never bid on eBay, just create an account on eBay, play around on eBay, and then come back to Jock Market. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to harp on, is find your max bid. I don't know why Bales is shaking his head. Nobody's going to go to eBay, he says. I know that's what he's thinking right now. Nobody uses that.
No one's going to eBay.
I don't even know if people have eBay on the eBay app even download on their phones anymore.
That's right.
Figure out the max bid. That is what you bid, and then if nobody bids close to it, or the only way you lose is if somebody bids over your max bid, and you're not going to bid more than that because you've already determined that's the most you want. You can, but I don't know if I heard TRex make an inhale. I don't know if you wanted to comment on that before we move on to our favorite plays for this week.
You got good ears, man. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, just to be abundantly clear, you get refunded the amount that, above what the actual IPO is, right? If you bid 13 and it's at 10 and at lock it goes to 11.50, you get that 150 per share back. So I think some people think that once they make the bid, it's gone. No, obviously if you get outbid, you get everything back. But if the IPO ends up lower, you get that difference refunded back to you. So it's not like you bid 13 and that's it. You're going to pay 13 no matter what.
Yeah. So if it doesn't matter if they're like, my example, I said $11.50. If you bid $13 and nobody pays attention to them and they finish at $1.50, you're not paying anything more than $1.50 per share. All the money just goes back in your account. It's just reserving that. This is the most I'm willing to bid. So you have to have it in your account. It reserves it, and then whatever the actual end number is, it spits out the difference back into your bankroll. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a hop, skip, and a jump over here to our favorite plays for this Sunday's main slate. But what I want to do, I always have my screen shown on, or my actual app shown on the screen here. This is not just a picture. This is actually a screen share. I think the last few podcasts I've already been in the contest, so it's been hard to show you where to join them. So I waited for this one to actually show you where to join these contests. So the NFL Sunday main slate. So this is tomorrow, Sunday, Week 7, the main slate. You find that in the featured events. So right here in the middle column, scroll till you see NFL Sunday main market 10/24, and you just hit the join now button. It says join for free. You say yes, because it doesn't cost any money to join. If you just want to join and just watch things and track things as you go along and do some research before you actually start bidding, you can. They give you the option to do that.
That's
And
a great idea. I do that all the time. Because then you can go back and look, hey,
Yeah.
how much did this guy go for an IPO, or how many, how did these players, stack up last week? Because otherwise, you gotta ask Jock Market for that data, or you gotta ask somebody else. Yeah, that's a great idea, even if you're not going to play.
That's what I've been doing for NBA, because NBA just started this week, and so NBA is all the sports. They're different beasts in terms of how to apply. I mean, they have similar strategies on the bidding and everything, but how you want to attack them, to me anyway, I feel like they're all different beasts. I'm trying to figure out the people that are always finishing in the top 5 in the NBA daily market. What does their portfolio look like? Are they doing a lot of the cheap guys and just getting lucky, or getting massive payouts? Or are they doing about a bunch of the big guys, getting those little bit of payouts, but times a million? So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the NBA. And then, so the last thing I want to mention before we get to Bales Week 7 play here, the free roll is in the 3rd row here. You go to free play events, you scroll over, free 2.5K NFL Sunday contest 10/24. Every NFL Sunday, for probably the foreseeable future, Jock Market is giving away $2,500 for free. So you download this app, use promo code Karma to deposit to play in that cash market, but tap on this join free button here, tap on the join free again, and then boom, as simple as that, you are in the free roll. Strategy, this is first time watching, you have 250 play chips, if you've seen their top left, 250 play chips, spend all of that on one player. Find a player who you think is going to have the best ROI, go all in on them, and if you are correct on that player, you are guaranteed to win first place, or a split of first place, if that player is the highest ROI anyway. But while Bales' camera is hopping in and out here, but we still have his audio. Bales, who is your this camera? We just got a Bales a new fancy camera, and the cord or something is jacked up on it. I don't know. But Bales, who is your Week 7 play for the main slate here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase. I feel like he's kind of going overlooked a little bit with T. Higgins back. I still would have assumed that Jamar Chase is more or less the wide receiver 1. I feel like they're kind of in like a 1A, 1B type role, and then Tyler Boyd would be the 3 behind the 2 of them. But I still do prefer Jamar Chase. He is just kind of a big play waiting to happen, averaging over 20 yards per catch on the season. We saw him against Green Bay go off when he had a season high 10 targets, and then also 6 catches for 159 yards and a touchdown. He gets a matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, who it's kind of weird that they've been really bad defensively, yet everyone kind of still keeps them in like that elite upper echelon defenses in the NFL. That's not actually the case. When you look at it, they've given up the 6th most air yak this season. They've given up the 2nd most yards after the catch of any team in the NFL, behind only the Dallas Cowboys, and they're only 30 yards behind them. If you're wondering who has the highest yards per catch, yards after the catch per reception for Cincinnati, you guessed it, it is Jamar Chase. I also believe that he leads the team in air yards as well. So just kind of a really, really good spot for him. 6.5-point underdogs as well, which I guess you can be slightly hesitant that I believe their team total is under 20. I think it's set at 19.5. But I wouldn't personally be shocked if they found success, and they should be throwing the ball at least for the majority of the game. We kind of know that Cincinnati has no problems giving Joe Mixon, a ton of touches as long as they're, ahead or winning the game. I don't expect that to be the case this week. I would assume that they're going to be airing it out for the majority of the second half. And when you have a big play threat like Jamar Chase, who's found plenty of success without really any red zone role, and I don't think that I would expect that to continue through the entire season. I still think that he's more or less their number 1. And as the season progresses, I'm assuming he's going to find some more red zone targets. But it just feels like a really good spot where he could, I doubt he sees the double-digit targets that he did against Green Bay. But he could get close to 10 targets in this game. And when you have, over 20 yards per catch on the season, it's always a big play waiting to happen. And he's not really priced near the top, even though he does somewhat have the potential to lead the slate in scoring.
All right. Now, before we go to T-Rex's favorite play for the main slate, I do want to mention that we have a new tool that we launched last week maybe before the lock, IPO lock for this week, but maybe slightly after that. We're going to be uploading it to the or adding it to the menus, the drop-down menus of our dfskarma.com. But if you want to see a sneak peek of it before it gets added to the menu, just go to dfskarma.com jockmarket.com/JOCKMKT. So Jock Market, no hyphens. That is to the tool. Now, if you were like, I'm understanding your strategy, I still am not 100% sure how to play, dfskarma.com/JOC-MKT. You add the hyphen, you get the how-to. You take away the hyphen, you get a special tool called our max IPO. And what that is Bales goes through all of the projections of where Jock Market is saying, based on their projections, where each player is going to finish. And then Bales goes through maybe 10 to 20 of the players out of 120 something options you have, and he says this is the max IPO. This is what the most I would bid on this player based on where I think they're going to finish. So JOCKMKT, dfskarma.com/jockmarket, no hyphen. That's what she's going to show you that tool, and that tool is free to view every single week. But let's go ahead and go over to Mr. TRex with his favorite Week 7 play.
Yeah, it's too bad I didn't have a good Week 6 play last week, right? Yes. So we're going to try and be better than Alex Collins was last week. This week, I am going against the guy on a streak that nobody wants to be on, and that is Jacoby Myers. It feels like this guy cannot score to save his life. He's either going down at the 1-yard line or he's scoring like he did last week and getting it called back on a penalty. I think this is the week he gets in the box. I actually think he's going to score twice against the lowly Jets. I am definitely looking to stack Mac Jones with Jacoby Myers to pick up both of those. I think it's a prime week for him. They've already played once this season and dominated the Jets. And so that is my play for any price about $3.15 or less.
That's what my next question was on your max IPO. So $3.15 for Jacoby Myers, and then Bales going back to Jamar Chase. What do you think your max IPO is for him?
I think I would spend up to probably $7.25, which I feel like you probably won't have to. But I do really like him. I have him really high this week. So I think that's probably the max that I would be willing to go.
All right. As always, if you have questions beyond what these podcasts answer for you, either ask the comments on the YouTube video or, of course, join our free chat room by going to dfskarma.com/chat. Free channels for Jock Market for NFL, NBA, NHL, and PGA, all that good stuff to just ask questions and learn and win along each other, because we're not fighting against each other. That's the best part. And DraftKings, everyone's trying to get the $1 million. They're all fighting against each other. 600,000 entries. We can all profit without somebody else not profiting, as long as we're applying the same strategies and whatnot. But that being said, make sure you click the thumbs up on this video, and we'll catch you guys maybe next week. I'm not going to be available next week, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the scheduling. But I'll catch you guys. Good luck, and hopefully the Dolphins stop losing. See ya.